Good afternoon, Facebook. This is Teresa B coming to you from Amplified Exposure Live. Today, I have my special guest, Robin Shockley. She is an advocate for domestic violence, and she has a story to tell. Because remember, this month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Y'all know I'm a big advocate of domestic violence awareness. And so Miss Shockley decided to come on my show today because she likes me. So welcome to the show, Miss Shockley. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be on. Thank you, Teresa, for having me.
Oh, anytime. So we're going to jump right into it. I know that you do a lot of things for women, as
Okay.
far as pushing women forward, and you have a lot of programs going on. You have a talk show. You won several awards for some of the things that you've been doing, and you're also an advocate, not only a survivor of domestic violence, but also an advocate of domestic violence.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if you can just go back to the beginning of time on how this all started for you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there's always root issues to reasons why we go through things and why we allow things to happen. And so,
Mhm.
I was married at a very young age. I was 18 years old. So I was, got married and I was married for like 28 years. So
Oh,
very, very long time. And,
yeah.
I wanted acceptance. I wanted to be appreciated, valued, accepted. And I grew up in a picture perfect home where my family was all put together. They were very religious, very, spiritual, so to speak. But the thing is that it was too perfect, right? I never saw my parents